It eventually escalated to the larger body of the House when it went to the National Economic Council meeting, asking the president to withdraw the bill from the bills from the National Assembly. And will I say the biggest bone of contention for them have been the VAT. Tell us, does VAT put less industrialized regions at a disadvantage?
The answer is no, and you're spot on, Mark. While we're working on this, we thought that we'll be celebrated by like northern states, even though for us it wasn't a regional conversation. We thought that all the states would celebrate us and say thank you for doing this for us. And we thought we were going to have a very difficult time explaining to Lagos State.
You were expecting a celebration?
We were expecting that would be celebrated. So we went to the governor of Lagos State because we thought that was going to be the difficult conversation. Went to the governor of Lagos State and he was very supportive and said, you know, why don't we set up a committee of my cabinet and some of your members to walk through these details. We're having our engagement for more than 6 months. Okay, let me explain what the issue is. I'll do a bit of, backtracking to history. In 1986, the military introduced a decree on sales tax, and it was to be collected by states. 5 years, they were not making progress. In 1991, the military set up a committee to say, why is this sales tax not working? Maybe we should consider VAT. Value-added tax. So the committee did their work, and by 1993, the conclusion was VAT will be a better tax to collect because, one, it does not create inflation, because sales tax creates inflation because anytime you pay it, you can't recover it. Whereas VAT, you can recover it as you add value. Number two, it allows commerce between states and also with international. And then they said, if we must collect this VAT, we should collect it centrally because that's the most efficient way of collecting it. So it's a state tax, collect it centrally and give it back to the state. Take your money for administering it, investing in capacity. That's how we ended up with the federal government sharing 15%, states 50%, local government 35%. This happened in 1993 was when the decree was promulgated. The law implementation started in 1994. Now, by 1999, we were writing the Constitution because we now have the Fourth Republic. But what we did was just replicate the 1979 Constitution. Why is this story important? In 1979, there was no VAT. So there was no VAT in the 1979 Constitution. By 1999, we had implemented VAT for about 5 years, and it was becoming a top revenue earning tax. How on earth did we forget to put it in the 1999 Constitution? Because it wasn't stated in the 1999 Constitution, lawyers will say to you that it's a residual matter. Because it's a residual matter means it's a matter for subnational. That is why Rivers State, Lagos State have been to court and they have won. If we get a judgment from the Supreme Court today, it will tell you that VAT should be collected and administered by state. That would be chaotic. That would be taking us back to 1986. States will collect less, business will suffer, the economy would retrogress. We don't want that.
The idea behind the solution that had come was because they were trying to resolve a problem, and that's why companies just resorted to filing the... So what was the innovation which you had introduced in this new tax reform bill, which governors or, quite a number of people do not seem to understand yet?
Yeah, great question. All the banks, almost all of them are headquartered in Lagos. They pay the VAT in Lagos. Beverage companies, Nigeria Breweries, Coca-Cola, they sell beverages across Nigeria, but they file in Lagos. You know what we do currently? That's VAT that is remitted in Lagos is attributed to Lagos as being derived from Lagos. But it's not derived from Lagos. When you make calls, it's derived from across Nigeria, which was why we thought that the hard conversation we're going to have was convincing Lagos State that this is our new method that says move away from where VAT is remitted to where the consumption takes place. Every state in Nigeria would use mobile phone. They will use airtime. They'll buy soft drinks. They'll use cement. They're building houses everywhere. Dangote will remit the VAT in Lagos. So we said, let's correct these distorted derivations so it reflects economic activities everywhere those activities take place for the purpose of sharing.
Sorry to interrupt you, but how are you hoping to correct that without going back to the old complicated system?
So in 1990 something, companies were filing returns everywhere, right? Then in 2024, we say file it in one place, right? That's what we've done for some years. Those companies within their system can tell you where the transactions are taking place. MTN will tell you where the subscribers are based, right? If you are Coca-Cola, and it can be any company, I don't want to call any particular company's name, you have distributors and they have addresses. In 5 minutes, you can tell you where their distributors are based and how much goods they've sent to them. So rather than saying because the company producing the beverages is headquartered in Lagos, that's where we derive all the stuff from in Nigeria, we'll say, where did you send them to? The one you sent to Ekiti, to Zamfara, to Kebbi, to Abia. Let them take credit for their economic activities, right? And I think everybody should be excited about that. Apart from Lagos State, honestly, we think it's only Lagos State that should not like what we're proposing.
Not even Rivers?
Rivers has mostly the oil companies headquartered there. The story about Rivers is that what the oil companies sell is VAT exempt. So they don't have a lot of VAT in that sense that will be attributed to them. Apart from the fact that when the oil companies receive invoices by law, they are meant to retain the VAT. That's what they are remitting that is giving Rivers State the attribution that they have today, right? So on balance, this was meant to treat everybody equitably, trying to get us out of the impression that when you start doing VAT at state level, you make so much money, which is not the case. In fact, today, the VAT on imports and international services is actually more than the VAT we collect in Nigeria within our jurisdiction. So, and that amount that is collected from international services and import VAT is not attributed to any state. It goes into the pool and is shared. So we share today VAT between and among states based on derivation, 20%, based on equality, 50%, and based on population, 30%. We are proposing that correct the derivation and share 60% based on derivation, 20% based on population, and 20% based on equality. Let me tell you the even more attractive proposition that we have. We thought was going to be very difficult was, their federal government, can you please cede 5% of your share to the state? Instead of taking 15%, why don't you take 10%? Now we have 5% that can give us a buffer that we can use to do fiscal equalization and actually write in the law to guarantee every state that as a result of our reform, you will not collect less than you would have collected under the old formula. I thought that should be good enough. It's actually just saying to you at a state that your risk is zero, but the upside is significant. Your VAT revenue can double in less than 2 years if they allow this reform to go through. Because it would also motivate states to take interest in the economic activities within their jurisdiction.
I imagine that you've had a moment to engage with the governors on this. How has it yielded any fruit since the NEC asked for the withdrawal of the bill?
Yes, so I was at the NEC meeting where they asked for the withdrawal of the bill. Before then, we've had engagements with the Governors Forum. We had with the finance commissioners. We've had series of engagement with the Joint Task Board, where you have the head of the revenue services across Nigeria, among other engagements. I'll say we are making progress. I do think that the misunderstanding was based on people not reading all the provisions of the law, because where we're trying to correct how this derivation is done is in the tax administration bill, whereas the VAT law is in the Nigerian tax bill. So somebody picked one leg of it, didn't find the second one, and then they concluded that this was going to be against the North. This is not against the North. It's not against any region. This is to benefit everybody. Let
me ask you this, because I heard you say when you're explaining the Nigeria Revenue Service, because you said that the impression that they